All right, welcome back. So let's get this first one started. All right, so here's our curriculum page, all right, which we've gone over several times. But within Google Classroom, and yours is going to look a little different because I'm in Teacher View, you'll click on the link. The link will take you to the main page. All right, you'll end up here in the main page, all right, at the home page. So you're going to want to go, as it says in the classroom, to sophomores, okay? Just the drop down, let it drop down, and week 1 and 2, digital illustration 2. And this is where we were when we discussed this particular project, okay? So here's all your stats, all the things we've gone over, okay? All the videos are going to be here. They're not here right now because I haven't recorded them all, but they're all going to be right here, all right? And the first step, we're just going to go ahead. This is going to make this really easy, all right? And you can drag all these down at once, or you can do them one at a time. It's up to you. But slices is the first one we went over. So we're going to take slices and we're going to drop it here. Now it's on my desktop and it's ready to go. Now the file size I want, if you remember, okay, is 11 by 17. So I'm going to go to Illustrator and I'm going to create an 1117. So create new 1117. I'm already set. You can go to print. You can click on tabloid, which is 11 by 17. Now you'll notice it's set to points. Whenever you see points, just click this and change it to inches and it will make more sense to you, okay? So I create my document. Now, how do I get that into that? Well, it's easy. I can drag and drop. All right. Now, when I drag and drop, what that is the same as doing is it's the same as going file place. So I have placed this image. And if you don't remember what a file place is, a file place, this image only exists on the desktop and it's being called to in Illustrator, which means if I delete this, okay, I'm going to have an issue later on when I save this file. Right? It's going to give me an error message. It's going to talk about the fact that it's missing a file, and it's going to make this blank out, which would be bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make your life a little easier. I've dropped it in here. All right, it's placed in. Now, so that you don't have to worry about always having this particular background image, just click on it, go to Window, and go to your Links panel, all right, just like in InDesign. And you'll notice right now it's questioning, and it's questioning because I've upset it, and I moved it. So I have to relink it, and this is what you would get. All right, this is what you would get if you didn't save the image, if you deleted the image after you put it in Illustrator. But the easiest way to solve that is with your links panel open, again, under Window and Links. Okay, I'm going to click on this little drop-down menu, and I'm going to say Embed Image. Now, that is inside the Illustrator file. One thing to note is if you've got larger files, larger images in Illustrator like this, it's going to make your Illustrator file bigger, but for this, it's not that big of a deal because it's a small file. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename my layer, and this is going to be the originals layer. That's where all my originals will be. And then I'm going to click on the Create New Layer button, boom, and this will be my illustrations. All right. So now I can take this, and for the sake of just not screwing up, I'm going to lock this right here. So now I can't touch this layer. All right. So let's get started on this. So I'm going to go on my illustrations layer, and I'm going to begin. So there are, as with anything we do, multiple ways to do something. I'm going to show you what I think to be relatively the simplest, okay? The styles on these are what's important. So if you look at slices, it's square, it has sharp corners, clean, and even spaced. That's what you're looking for here. So if your way of creating these takes you longer than the way I show you or doesn't make it even, you're probably not going to want to do it, all right? So the first thing I'm going to do, all right, I could sit here and draw a square, all right, and let me give it a color so we can actually see it, all right, and then I could use my free transform tool and I can bend this box to fit the shape that I want. So I can sit here and do this and go back here and do this and get it all set up and be like, all right, it's good. That's one way to do it. Not difficult. I find the easiest way is the pen tool because it's 4 clicks. So I just click, I click. Now you notice I got the pink line, and that's because under the view, my smart guides are on. If your smart guides are on and they're not showing up, turn them off, turn them on again. All right, and sometimes you have to restart Illustrator. I know it's a little finicky sometimes that way, but this is my smart guides. It's lining me up so I have a straight line. So I'm gonna click here, and it'll also line me up to my endpoint, which is great. So I can click here, I can click here. Now, I'm gonna copy this, and the easiest way to do this is hold the Option key, and I'm gonna click and drag, and I'm gonna click and drag, and I'm going to click and drag. So remember, I can go edit, copy, paste, right? Or I can hit Command C, Command V. All of those are slow compared to just holding down the Option key and clicking and dragging, and I can make copies left and right, which is great. Now, what I am going to do is make each one of these a different color so that I can see it. Okay. Now on the larger ones, I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to click. I guess I don't have to keep saying click. Go through, and I'm going to copy one. And let's make that a different color. And again, Option key, click, drag. All right, and make that a different color. Now, I need each one that's in the front to be in front of it. So I'm going to go here and go Object Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, and now I'm going to start. So now these two should be Object Arrange, Bring to Front. See it? This one, Object Arrange, Bring to Front. This is just file setup to make life easier. Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, and then all of these guys, Arrange, Bring to Front. And you'll see that way I can do what I'm going to do next. All right, so I hope that makes sense. If not, stop the video, go back and watch that part again. All right, so we're going to continue. The next step, again, the key here is even space. So I'm going to click on this piece, and I'm going to do what's called an offset path, which is really cool. So I'm going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path. Now, offset path, you can make it larger, okay, or you can make it a negative number. All right, and what you end up with is two paths. You end up the original path, which in this case is bigger, and the new path, which in this case is smaller. But I'm going to go point, I think it was 13 or something like that. Okay, and I think that you can keep playing. You can adjust this any which way you want. But the key point here is you've got two paths now. You've got the outer one and you've got the inner one, and they're actually separate pieces. Okay, so what's really important, again, Object, Path, Offset Path, is once I click this, only the outer path is highlighted, and that's what you want, the bigger one. So while that's highlighted, I'm going to hold the Shift key, which is going to allow me to multi-select, and I'm going to select this next one. And this is really easy. Now I'm going to hit the minus front on my Pathfinder. And if you can't find Pathfinder, it's under Window, Pathfinder. Okay? So now I'm going to take this one, and guess what? I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to say Path, Offset Path. And once you use the setting once, it's in there. So I don't have to change anything. I hit OK. Again, the outer path is selected. All right? If you happen to select the inner path and then this one and minus the front, you're going to get a really weird thing. And if you did that, that's what happened. Okay, you had the inner path selected, not the outer path selected. Okay, the bigger shape. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on the green one, minus front. Click on this one, Object, Path, Offset Path. Click OK. Hold the Shift key, click on this, minus front. I don't know if this could get easier. So you go to Object, Path, Offset Path. Ooh, OK. Shift key, click, minus front. And one more time. Object, Path, Offset Path. Hit OK. Shift, click, minus front. Now I can take all of these and make them black. Okay. I would also probably take them all and group them. Command G or Object Group. Okay. In this case, I'm group. Now I've got my shape. Okay. So that's pretty easy. That one's easy. Okay. The hard part is going to be using that same technique and getting the same effect. Okay. With the tree. But now that I'm done, what I would do is I would go back to my layer panel. All right. And I would click on, if I'm happy with this, if you're happy with it, and I am, I would unlock this and I would get rid of the slices of the piece because you don't need it anymore. All right. And now I have my first one. Later on, when you're done, you can go back in, and if you look at the final layout, you can make sure that they're all roughly the same size, all right, visually, because that's what we want when we want the final piece. This will be a good piece for your portfolio. So that's the first step. That's the first one. Super easy. So we're going to do one a day, all right, to make things easier, and then you can go through and start to create the tree. So if you get this done super quick, which you probably have because it took me a few minutes to do it, all you want to do now is you want to work up your sketches. So before you do the tree, let me switch back here. All right, we went over this. All right, but before you do the tree, you want to create 2 sketches for each style. So you want to create 2 sketches based on this style of how you're going to do the tree. Remember, it's not just any tree. All right. If you go to the Files That You Need panel and you look at the tree image, it's this tree. Okay, this shape and this form of a tree. I don't want to see one that looks like a Christmas tree because that's not the tree you're trying to create. Again, the objective behind this is for you to be able to look at something and illustrate it digitally. A lot of you can draw much better than I can, all right, on paper. The hard part is being able to illustrate in Illustrator and digitally. And not only that, but work in multiple styles. So this is going to give you a few different little tools to work with, if you will. So you're not always stuck on one style, and you can look back at these styles and how you created these styles and the techniques that we created them with, all right, to be able to do that. So that's video number 1, okay? That's how to create the slices style. We'll have another video up later on for the second one, all right? If this is confusing, go back, check it out. You can ask me, all right? And we can go through it. But for the most part, pretty simple first one. All right, guys? All right, good luck.